In this video I'm going to look at a few things around editing text via the text editor. I'm going to start from a book page, but pretty much everything I'm going to go through here is applicable to any object that can take text and that you can edit using the standard text editor. So I'm going to start from a template. Always good to start from a template because it makes sure that you're keeping all of your correct styles and standards, and if you've got your templates set up correctly, there's a bunch of stuff in them to start with just so that the authors know how to get started and know how things are supposed to look. So in this particular example I have the title of the book page being brought in as a placeholder, and I've got some boilerplate text in here. This is useful just so the authors, again, they know what, roughly what it should look like and what styles to use to get started. So one thing to note here, this has boilerplate text in it, and to edit text I can either edit it here or I can edit it in this property here, but if I double click in here, that text disappears. I've now got something completely blank, which isn't too helpful. So over on the property sheet here, if you activate this text property here, now if I go into here, that text is in there, so I can get started. And you can edit to your heart's content. And I did a separate video on setting up styles and how to use them and how to indent and then outdent your text. All nice and easy. Okay, let's get on to the more useful stuff. I'm going to remove all of that and I'm just going to format that with a style of normal. This is the standard text editor. I'm assuming you're at least vaguely familiar with this. You've got styles across the top and then you've got direct formatting options along the bottom. So I'm just going to take some text and put it into here to use as a demo. Just unformatted text. So this is all coming in as normal. So there's a bunch of things that we can do here. We can apply paragraph formatting to it. We can apply character formatting to it, or we can apply direct formatting to it. These are styles that we've set up, and these are things that we just want to apply effectively as a one-off. Where you can use styles if they've been set up, and they should be set up, because if the styles change, you can just change it in one place and it will be reflected everywhere in all of your book pages. So let's look at some things here. This is Arial 13 pixels. Okay. Now say I want all of the text in here to be a different size. I could change it in there, but you will also note in the properties sheet under design I have font, font size, font color, etc. in here as well. And this is a nice easy way of changing all of the text in there in one fell swoop. So say I want in here to set this to, instead of it being 13, I would rather it was 20. So I'll set that as 20. And it's much bigger there, so let's see what's happening. This now shows it's 27. So why, when I've put the font size to 20 here, is it suddenly 27? The reason is, for whatever reason SAP have done this, this here is 27 pixels. If I go and look at the font size field, this is actually 20 points. And if you look at how to convert from one to the other, there is a big difference to that. So I'll just put this on the side. You can Google the difference between points and pixels on the internet. You'll find the same information. So this is set in points up in here. This is 20 points, and 20 points is approximately 26 pixels. It's actually 27 if we go back into here and check. 27 pixels. It's approximating it here. So that's the first thing to bear in mind. You can change it in either of these places, but bear in mind they're different units of measurement. Okay, so let's look at some other stuff here. I'm going to split this out. Actually, let me change that back. So I'm going to take this off here. I don't need to delete this value in here. I can just deselect that property and we're back to where we were. So I'm going to go into here. I'm going to split this into a couple of different paragraphs. Actually, I'm going to split it into 3 different paragraphs to show you some stuff here. So this first paragraph here, I'm going to set this to be a heading 1, which is 32 pixels. Okay, so this is a paragraph style that I have applied to this. Now this second one here, I am going to apply a character style to it, and I am going to say I want to use emphasis with this, which is actually just going to put it in italics for me, okay? But I applied the style to it. Now let's look at another couple of things that we can do. So we've looked at paragraph styles here, we've looked at character styles here, and then we've got the direct formatting as well. So I'm going to apply some direct formatting to some of this. This one here, I am going to say I want to, this particular text here, I want to put this in 20 pixels. And this one here in the heading, I'm going to say this particular word here, all of the heading one is set to 32 pixels already. Okay, but what I'm going to do, just to show you how this works, I'm going to set this to 32 pixels. So it's still effectively the same size as this, but this has this has direct formatting applied to it. So let's see what difference that is going to make. Okay, so this all looks as I expected it to look. I've got this extra big. This all looks the same size because it's all 32 pixels. But look what happens if I now go over to the design and I reset this to 20. Let's look at what's happening. First of all, this first paragraph, which has the paragraph style and this one word with direct formatting. So it looks exactly the same. I can flip this on and off and it looks exactly the same. There's no difference to it. This next one, it has also pushed this up to 20 points or 27 pixels it will be on the inside when we go and look at it, except for this one word here. This is still set to whatever I set it directly to, which I think was 20 pixels or thereabouts. And this last paragraph, this has all been set to 20. Okay? So let's go and look at what's happening on the inside of that. Within here, this has now gone to 27 pixels, which is my 20 point that I set here. Same with this one. This one is still 20 pixels because that is direct formatting that I applied. And this looks exactly the same because this all had direct formatting on it. So one last thing that I will do here before I show you something else is if I select this and say I now don't want it as a heading 1 because it's too big, I want to drop this down to say heading 5. What happens is everything that was heading 1 is now heading 5, but this particular word here that I set to 32 pixels, it's still left as 32 pixels. So the way that all of this works is the priority that it will give things is direct formatting, which is what you've got on this bottom line here, Arial 32 pixels, etc., bold, italics and underline, and then the coloring. That takes priority over any style settings. Style settings take the next priority, and finally this font size here set in the properties will be used if there's no style been assigned to it, there's been no direct formatting to it. So that's how all of that works. It can be a bit confusing at first, especially if you don't realize that the font size here is in points and the font size here is in pixels, which is hugely inconsistent for no reason whatsoever. But once you understand how it's working, it makes sense. But that's how all of this works. And again, just to make sure that we're all nice and clear, set this to paragraph 1, and I will tell you that direct formatting always takes priority. Styles, whether that is para styles or character styles, is the next priority, and then finally the design properties. So that is the priority that is being used. So bear those in mind when you're doing all of your text editing. But in general, you will want to set up styles, paragraph styles and character styles, and use those consistently. Okay, that was it. Hope that clarifies a few things. Hope you found it useful. Thanks for watching.